All right, welcome everyone. I know that tonight we have a small group, but I hope this small group would take advantage of this setup and you can ask as many questions as you'd like to the speaker. By the way, I'm Liz and I will be your host for this evening. So let me introduce our speaker. Our speaker for today, he finished his bachelor's degree at Mindanao State University, which through RA 6060 rather was established on August 4, 1969, initially offering degree programs and diplomas in fisheries technology. Today, it offers a myriad of courses and paths to take, with international linkages and networks. Its mission is to fulfill its mandate that MSU-TCTO shall provide relevant quality education, especially to Muslims and other indigenous groups, promote environmental conservation and sustainable utilization of fisheries and marine resources, develop and transfer new knowledge and innovative technology to the community, and engage stakeholders in peace and socio-economic development endeavors. Its vision is to be a university in the Sulu archipelago renowned for fisheries, marine and environmental science, and other disciplines. So our speaker for tonight, during the 2008 licensure examination, he placed first all over the Philippines. He also went to Japan as a part of JASU to conduct a proposal piece on research for his master's degree, which is a part of the University of the Philippines Visayas Master's Program. He got his doctorate degree from the same university and was a recipient of the DOST Picard Scholarship, which is one of the um what's the word? Exemplary scholarships in the Philippines and is now he himself a board member of PICARD. He's one of the board of directors, rather. And after his PhD, he went back to his hometown in Tawi-Tawi. Currently, he is the manager for hatchery of MSU TCTO and also the graduate program head of MSU TCTO College of Fisheries. He came back to share his experience and education to his fellow Tawitawinians. And now, with the advent of technology, he aims to share everything to people beyond the island he is in. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Yashir Yujuma. Doc Yash? Okay, well, he is currently checking what the technicalities of his Zoom meeting or his presentation. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of our participants. We have registrants from, of course, the home court, the MSU-TCTO students, faculty, and staff. We also have from Mindanao State University, Buog RT Lim Extension. We also have Northeastern Mindanao State University, MSU Sulu, Gingoong City United Colleges. I hope I pronounced it correctly. We also have Zamboanga State College, and of course, Mafar Barm. If you're here, good evening. We also have participants here from BFAR. So I hope you learn a lot and enjoyed for tonight's talk. I'm giving the floor to Doc Yash.
Okay, am I audible?
All right.
Okay, can you see the
Yes,
the
Doc, we can see the slide presentation, but your audio
slides?
is a
Okay.
little bit low.
Oh, okay. So how about like that? Is it Am I loud and clear?
Yes, it's better now.
Okay. Let me begin my talk in a few seconds. So of course we would like to acknowledge the people from the Mindanao State University Sulu. Of course, I scheduled this Zoom for them actually because we are mentoring them for the research throughout this year. So we would like to start our activities with the tips in formatting a research title. And with that, we will be mentoring them throughout the year as far as their what you call that, their chancellors is concerned. So now this evening, I'm going to talk about the tips in formatting a research title. So what are the tips? Also, we have to consider, of course, some tips in formatting a research title. So here we have drafting a suitable research title. What are the things to be considered here? Of course, the research title should be correctly accurately, meticulously, and it is considered sometimes as consume time and energy. And often, these are drafted after the complete manuscript draft is ready. And one must remember to adhere to the instruction laid down by the target journal regarding the style and number of words permitted for the title. So it depends on sometimes it depends on the journal if how many number of words they are required you're required. And of course, so what another thing is that what are the importance of the title? First, it is the first detail or face of the paper that is read. So you have to consider that the title is the face. And it should be simple, direct, accurate, appropriate, specific, functional, interesting, of course, attractive, appealing, concise, brief, precise, focused, unambiguous, memorable, captivating, informative, enough to encourage the reader to read further, unique, catchy, and it should be not be misleading. Okay, so nawala yung can okay, so let's continue. The journal website, electronic database, and searching engine use the word in the title to retrieve a particular paper during a research. So we have to consider that the research title is also a basis for the journal websites, no? Or if you go to search, actually the one that will come out is aside from the keywords is the title. And another one is that important words should be arranged in appropriate order of importance as per the context of the paper and should be placed at the beginning of the title rather than the later part of the title, as some search engine like Google, which is only the first 6 to 7 words of the title. So the title is that you have to place the important words immediately, no, in the beginning, because the search engine particularly is that they are only limited, no, in scope. For example, limited number of words. So immediately you as you go with your unique title, you place the unique word as early as in the first 3 words so that it would be visible in the search engine. So what are the types of title? Of course, we have here the descriptive, the declarative, and interrogative. So far, I have given here examples. Well, for this descriptive, so far that I made a title is that the phenotypic and transcriptomic responses of the black tiger shrimp, penis monod, and post larvae to varying dietary corrugina inclusions. So that is one of the examples that I could give for descriptive title. And for the so far for the declarative title that I made was or published, dietary quelea saponin improves growth in resistance against acute hyposalinity shock in the black tiger shrimp and small and post larvae. So in this, you declare immediately if it, for example, dietary quelea saponin improves or not. And how about the interrogative? So far, I presented in the DPGA, and this research paper got the second. Dietary quelea saponin inclusion in feed as saponin as potent attractant or repellent additive in the diet of juvenile black tigers and Pinus monodon. So those are the things that I could give as far as the title that I made or the research paper that I made is concerned. So, so what are these descriptive or neutral title? Descriptive non-neutral title is it has the essential elements of the research theme, that is the patient's, for example, subjects or designed interventions, comparison, control, and outcome, but that does reveal the main result or the conclusion. That because that is neutral. Another one is it allows the reader to interpret the findings of the research paper in an impartial manner and with an open mind. It gives complete information about the contents of the article and title giving a glimpse of the paper as you prepared. So this is the most prepared so as far as the research title is concerned. Another one is that the declarative title. This title states the main findings of the study in the title itself. It reduces the curiosity of the reader, may point toward a bias on the part of the author, and hence is best avoided. So, meaning because you already declare. Another one, interrogative title. It has a query or the research questions in the title. Though a query in the title has the ability to sensationalize the topic, and it can be distracting the reader and is again best avoided for a research article, but can at times be used for a review article. So from a sentence construction point of view, the title may be nominal, This is capturing only the main themes of the study, and then compound with a subtitle. If you try to see, some of the review paper have the subtitle to provide additional relevant information such as context, design, location, country, temporal aspect, sample size, importance, and provocative or literary. And of course, full sentence, which are longer, indicate an added degree of certainty of the results. So you can also construct in a title in a full sentence. So going back, the tips is that as we review, the title needs to be simple and direct. It should be interesting and informative. It should be specific, accurate, and functional with essential scientific keywords for indexing. It should be concise, precise, and should include the main theme of the paper. It should not be misleading or misrepresentative. It should not be too long or too short. As required is 16 words, is maximum 16 words. Or it depends on the genre. It should avoid whimsical or amusing words. It should avoid non-standard abbreviation and unnecessary acronym or technical jargon. Titles should be spiced. That is, it should conclude setting, population, intervention, condition, endpoint, and design. Place of the study and sample size should be mentioned only if it adds to the scientific value of the title. Important terms, keywords should be placed in the beginning of the title, and descriptive titles are prepared to declarative or interrogative titles. Authors should adhere to the word count and other instructions as specified by the target journal. Okay, so next is that you take a look into this. The poor title, for example, study on plant growth. So I have here example the improved title, effects of nitrogen fertilizations on the growth rate and yield of tomato plants, Solanum lycopersicum in controlled greenhouse condition. That's the improved title. So I have here the reference. So in my class, actually these are the output of my class. I would like to share the output of my class Aqua 240, the advanced hatchery management. So I have here students for the main research. You try to see, okay, the title that they come up. Hatching in metamorphosis rate of sleeper lobsters, Celaritis latus under various rate concentration. Research proposal, effects of dietary vitamin A on gonad development, larval metamorphosis and metamorphosis of mangrove Silacirata, real in the land-based facility. So it's more on specific, concise. And of course, the first word, the first three words is really on the specific, in the unique, which is unique to the titles. So that's that's what I could see in these titles. And of course, specific. Another one, hatching in metamorphosis rate of blue swimming crab, Fortunus pelagicus under various temperature conditions. Another one is that for the research proposal, effect of dietary hormones on gonadal development, larval metamorphosis, and color morphometrics of abalone reared in the land-based facility. One of my inquiry and concern here is that suggestions that the dietary hormones. The dietary hormones, there are so many hormones, so it should be mentioned what particular hormone that to be used. So it should be edited into accept something specific. Another one here is that for Shadawati, hatching metamorphosis of tilapia under various light condition. So one of my comments here is that the tilapia, there are so many species of tilapia, it should be indicated here. Research proposal, effective dietary vitamins on gonad development, larval metamorphosis, and color morphometrics of telescopium reared in the land-based facility. Of course, there should be a name or a common name for telescopium. Not everybody knows about. And another one is that there should be dietary vitamins because there are so many vitamins. Vitamin A, vitamin soluble vitamins, and then fat soluble vitamins and water soluble vitamins. And of course, tilapia, there's so many. Okay, so those are my comments, no, regarding with the title that they come up. And Normita, a hadjang from MSU, of course, hatching metamorphosis of brine shrimp, artemia under various temperature. So for brine shrimp, Lenio 1758 will add to the number of words. You can delete that. And so by resistant of papain feed Chinese guppy against biosalinity. So only the taxonomies that I need to be omitted because it's add more words wordy. And for Patimanisla, hatching metamorphosis rate of abalone, Hydrogenina, of course, we have so many species of abalone, so we need to be specific of the abalones. And effect of the bioactive compounds, astaxanthin on gonadal development, larval metamorphosis and color morphometrics of sea urchin really in the land-based facility. Of course, another one is that bioactive compound should not be indicated here as bioactive compound. It should be just a dietary astaxanthin. Or another one is that C or chin should be specific. Should be given with the scientific name. For amoeba hatching immunomatosis rate of C here, of course, antibiotic concentration is good. Effect of dietary vitamin E on organ development, larval metamorphosis and chromometrics of milkfish, transferred in the lamp is pretty good. So another class, the class Aqua 210, Fenfish culture, they come up with this title. Blood profile in resistance of vitamin A, fed saltwater eel, Anguilla japonica against clay. There's only my comment here is about the clay. Because we need to be extreme in clay. And then another growth feed deficiency in stress response of saltwater eel supplemented with carrageenan in the diet. So of course, my comment here is the carrageenan because there is no no lambda, kappa, iota carrageenan. So it should be specific. For Crisina, blood profile hormones resistance of trachinosis against different levels of pH supplemented with permitted diets. So pH, no, it should be extreme pH, and of course, I think hormone resistance. So, something like my comment says that no, not clear. Also, so it should be something. There should be in the diet. This should be omitted on the diet or edited. Growth performance in AV filtration on bluefin trevally, supplemented with fermented dried coconut meat waste. Fermented dried coconut meat waste. Good. Sedawati, again, many research, blood profile resistance of udon-fed yellowfin tuna against carbohydrates. There is, I think my comment says carbohydrates. I'm not particular what is the meaning of what's he mean about the against the carbohydrates. Research proposal, growth efficiency in stress response or immune response of milkfish supplemented with butyric acid in the diet. Much better. For Fatima, blood profile resistance of carotenoid fed Cebus lattice calcarifer against different level of stachnicity. Good. Growth efficiency in stress response of pompano, Trachonitis blocki. Supplemented with tannins or dietary tannins in the diet, or with tannins in the diet. Good. Normita blood profile assistant of enzyme fed. This is freshwater catfish against them. So my comment here is that what particular enzymes, and then what particular catfish. Growth efficiency, feed efficiency, and stress response. Freshwater catfish, of course, other catfish. Supplemented with bioactive compounds. Of course, the bioactive compound, what particular bioactive compound is that? Should be specific. For CT, blood profile resistance of water spinach fed giant trevally against extreme temperature. So in here, my comment is that what is there in water spinach that could be that the giant trevally obtain against extreme temperature. So it's very hard sometimes to attribute later on in your discussions. Research proposal, growth feed deficiency immune response of red grouper, Filipino small is familiar with coconut oil in the diet. So coconut with coconut oil. Almost there. And then Patmanisa again, blood profile and resistance of polysaccharide fed grouper against transfer. So this is not clear. A title because there is polysaccharides, it's not clear. And against stressors, not clear. Growth feed deficiency and stress response of donors by vitamins in the diet. Again, vitamins is not clear. For Anwar, effect of lemon oil fed on buccal profile and stress response in the diet of malfish against light. So my comments here is that on the lemon oil, what is there on the lemon oil? It's very hard sometimes to attribute later on what particular substance that could be found in lemon oil that make these organisms resistance to light. Effect of basil seed inclusions on the growth, stress response, and blood profile in the diet of seedlings. So the basil seeds. So why is it basil seeds? Sometimes. So okay, that's all. Thank you for listening. We will try to really emphasize or give more times on the question and answers. So I do hope that our moderator would give us or would read us the questions being inquired during the especially during the registration so that we could address all those inquiries. So I am here actually if you want to be mentored, especially if you really wanted to to ask or to be you look for ask to be or your title to be criticized, something like that. You can just PM me. You can ask me, is this a good title or what can you say about this title? So we'll try to critique if that is because in this title alone you should be clear as early as possible. It should not be the reader should not be confused with the titles because you should state it very concise, clear, and everything. So um so those are the things that you have to consider in construction title because the title alone is that is the face and should be catchy, something like, and of course, sometimes when you try to consider that titles, that is sometimes the research title is something like a program title or a project title. Sometimes people use impact, which is something like an outcome rather than output. I mean, considering the smart, sometimes it's very difficult to attain. Later, you will realize that your research is that so many indices in which it's perhaps it's not enough for you to finish it. So look for a research study or formulate a research study that could be finished within your time frame so that you will finish it on time. So just by looking into the titles, but sometimes, of course, in that we have a working title. Later on, you will realize that your title is not, you know, it's not appropriate for or it's not feasible. So I do hope we'll jump immediately. We
To the
still have 37
questions.
minutes. We have still because we will end up at 8 o'clock. So it's already 7:37. But we will try to give more on the questions. And of course, I do hope you could formulate a title and I could critique that.
All right. Dr. Yash, we have a question.
Yes.
First question, do we have to put the SN and the EN po ba in the title?
Yes. Sometimes when you try to have that actually the scientific name is, for example, Siganids or the sea urchin that I mentioned, even the abalone. There is a different species of that. And you really have to put it because at the end of the day, research, meaning your research or your experiment should be repeatable. If you do not put the scientific name, just mud crab or the mangrove crab. There's four species of mangrove crab. If you do not put the scientific name, what will happen? So they will not get the right species. They could not follow you. So
Right,
something
there would
like
be confusion, no?
there are confusions on
Doc
the
Yash, I noticed from your presentation, I thought you have to, there's a certain format with regard to title writing. Let's say, for example, if it's a scientific name, you have to italicize it.
yeah.
Or
Okay.
the rest of the title should be in capital letters.
Capital
While
letter,
the
of course.
scientific
But
name should
still,
follow the form.
on that format actually, of course, grammarly on the grammar side. But there are some journal wherein you have to follow the format if it is not. Sometimes they do not follow the one that is being capitalized. Still, at the end of the day, it's the format of the journal that you will follow. That's why I'm not really. At the end of the day, I
You're
really
not very keen on, yeah.
uh, I really informed. I really share that it's at the end you really have to follow the guide for authors in the journal.
Okay. With regards sa research topic, how can you say that you're, kumbaga, in formulating the title pa lang, how can you do it that it becomes a great candidate for publications?
I think that's one of the concerns. Now, of course, the one that you best formulate the titles that your field of specializations. Your field of specialization is that the more you delve into the field of specializations, you will see the trend, and of course the gaps of your science. So with that, at the end of the day, that is the one that we are going to address is that science gap.
Mm.
So with that is that um make a title or make a research which is not or which cannot be found or which is missing in the chain and that because everybody is looking for it. So at the end of the day is that we will not try to duplicate what is there in the literature, or maybe we will repeat or research. That's how research being done. But of course, at the end of the day is that if we wanted to make our research very unique, is that something like you read for, we would look for the research gap or the science gap, something like that. So with that, if you try to see, we coin some terms, or we put some terms which make your research title unique. For example, I haven't coined euthanize. I haven't coined sometimes my advisor told me about the hypo hyposaline or hypoosmotic, or something like the term that really, meaning that make the your title make unique and make specific,
Mm.
so
I'm
like that.
wondering, Doc Yash, no, kasi especially on the first slide of your presentation, you said that it is imperative that you make your title appealing or interesting to the people. There's this study in UP about kumbaga impression or levels of understanding or awareness with regard to COVID, and they put the term ACHU, levels of awareness, of what is COVID-19 and stuff like that. What's your take on that, no, Doc Yash, with regard to the addition of creativity to one's title? Although it is not necessary, it's not a scientific name nor a variable on the study, but it's just a simple paganda lang, do anek-anek lang sa title.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
Anyway, sometimes the research is it's the in the trend. For example, if during the pandemic, everybody's looking into the data on the what is COVID-19, something like that. Everybody's are we are cramped. Now we are into what we are looking into the data, what is happening. Everybody is looking into it. Everybody is waiting for a research paper or for a science base about the pandemic, and everybody is reading on it. They like to read, even though you are not into the medical, everybody is concerned about their health. So that's why during that time, for how many for several months, nobody wanted to say I'm not feeling well.
Mm.
Yeah, something like that. So it's a catchy word, "achu," but we did like to emphasize that, something like foreign materials coming into your body, and then you want to excrete or you want to eject, and that's the form. That's how. So sometimes that kind of, indicators. So if your companion atsu, because everybody could relate the atsu, and it's something like the communications of the common.
Mm.
So we wanted to be understood, our science to be understood by a wide array of readers. We wanted to be we were to limanize or the some even the conditions, something like that. So in that, because people need it. Okay, we do not what you call that. We do not want to translate it something into more technical, something like that. So only during that time that the qPCR become known, that the RNA virus become known. So because of everybody wanted to, to understand, to know that what is happening, and what is the most difficult during that time is the mental health, because everybody is not they are looking against one another. We do not want to be associated with the other people, because they are the carriers. So everybody is, going for their safety, and everybody wanted to read, to know more. And all of the research pertaining to the COVID-19 is really, you know um, everybody wanted to read about that.
Yes, yes, actually. To the people in the Zoom, no, you can take advantage with the setup and you can ask Doc Yash if you have a title in mind for comments and suggestions. While we still have time, no, I would like to ask a question, Doc Yash. No, when I was in high school, charot, very long time ago, it is emphasized that in a study you should see your variables, the independent and dependent variables, and terminologies, even prepositions and adverbs in your variables could actually create a big impact with regard to its determination and face value of your study. So, can I ask for an advice how to place dependent and independent variables in a study, given that under fisheries, of course, you'll always be um conducting nominal studies. So
Yeah, I think that that's a good point to be raised because not everybody knows about that actually, about the independent dependent. Sometimes even the researchers do not distinguish about you try to ask them about the research, what you call that, objective, project objective, even the program objectives, they could not even distinguish that. So in this one, actually, if you try to see about for example, about the hatching rate could be specific objectives,
mm.
and that is could be measured by equations, and that could be attained. So that's a specific objectives. No, sometimes there is a redundant in the title. For example, you have to determine the blood profile, and at the same time the blood profile and the stress response. That's a redundant because the blood profile could be under stress response, and that could be an indicator of or another elements under index stress response. And that could also fall under growth, depending on the durations. So if you try to say growth, blood profile, stress response, you can just omit the blood profile because that's the sub-index under the blood, or under the stress or under the growth. So in sometimes in during the defense, sometimes the panels that would like to say that, oh, you add more. No, it's not. So that's why in making our titles that we would like to have the growth, the efficiency, because there are so many elements or sub and or index or parameters under growth. That's SGR, for example, or the weight gain or the total length gain. Those are the things that is being, for example, in the growth. In inefficiencies, the FCR, the PER. So under that, you can state the titles in the independent, the dependent, of course, no, in your titles, because that's titles that really tell you the scope, no. So of course, in the titles, that there are so many things that you have to consider in that, no, aside from the topic, the scope, and of course the settings, as I mentioned about the spice. But of course, the talking about the what you call that, the for examples, you have your variables, for examples, the variables that define stacking density. So you have that independent variables and the dependent variables that survival, for examples. That's the dependent variables. So in that ones, actually, by just looking into the title, you can see that the organisms is what particular research or what particular experiment or objective that you're going to do. So in just title alone, you can see that that is factorial or that is t-test. Sometimes that will reflect because, for example, if you are going comparing the male and the female, and that's already it's only the t-test. But if you are comparing the various levels, and that is one way ANOVA, for examples. So different various levels of different factors that could be multifactorial experiments. So it should be reflected so that the people could distinguish immediately if your study is multifactorial or t-test or one way ANOVA or two-way ANOVA or three-way ANOVA, something like that. So you can in distinguishing all this, actually it's very important in formatting your title so that you will know where are you going and if it is attainable or not. And sometimes it's just a redundant words putting it there, but at the end of the day you will realize that it could be merged or it could be still shortened into a simple and short uh, titles.
I'm sorry I had to turn off my camera because apparently according to my cat, it's dinner time. So he's demanding na napakainin siya. So ayun.
Anyway, it's
Anyway, guys, do you have any more questions? Title represents your study in its entirety, and titles will be the facade of your presentations, your publications. That's why it's quite important. And a lot of critics, no, I don't know, based on experience, face value. Oh my God! Sorry. Face value yung titles with regard to reviews and ratings. So, titles, although it's not, it's possible that you could do study na yung title later on. It doesn't necessarily have, it doesn't necessarily na you have your title prior to conducting studies. Am I correct, Doc Yash? Sometimes
Yes.
you could think of topics and things to study on, then later on lang yung study. As a matter of fact, the titles of your study could change the last minute. So, parang yan lang. I
Yes.
think no more questions. Doc Yash, is there anything you'd like to add?
I would like to also to add that after this, we will, if you wanted to continue, no, to join us continuing, we wanted to finish the problem proposals as early as within this semester. So we will mentor your research if you have in mind. We can have corrections or critique for your research title, and we are hoping that to come up a problem proposal within this semester to be submitted in your respective institutions, because the trend now is not, it's the proposal is embedded in the GAA of its institutions. So you really have to come up with the proposals to be submitted to your own institutions. So I would just like to be working on a shadow in every, you can consult me before you can consult me anytime on the working title that you wanted to come up in your respective institutions. So we will make sure that your title is that you should understand your title, of course, and at the end of the day, um we will proceed it to do the introductions, of course, to the materials and methods. So so that we could come up with a program proposal within a few months. Now you have this program proposal, so you can start, no, telling your colleagues that we will be mentoring the research title in its institution, especially the MSU Sulu. Yun ang target natin. Because we are mentoring not only the aquaculture, what you call that, research title, including other what you call that, other research title. For example, there are some, in general, there should be a clarity in your title. So, for example, if you say vitamins, what particular vitamins is that? Make sure to put it on what particular vitamins. So that sometimes there is an ambiguity or in your title, which I just like to ask, what do you mean like this one? What do you mean for that? And eventually you will realize that at the end of the day, your title become clearer and clearer, and then to the point that you could, because if it is not clear to you, what do you expect for the others? Okay,
Correct.
so with that, it's very difficult. So going back to the title that I crafted a while that we crafted a while ago regarding with, for example, the color morphosis. I even searched about the color morphosis. It's not common term in the color morphosis, but of course we just try to have it in metamorphosis different forms, color morphosis different color morphometrics, because the organisms evolve from time to time in terms of colorations. Even the changing environment, they differ in the color. So in that is measurable as to the color. So it reflects in their melanin or in their skin. So with that, we that's one thing that something like measurable. Okay, because sometimes, how could you measure the lab, for example? So
It's
you have to
measurable, but
you have
also,
you have to indicate some measurable index or some measurable as to the lab specifically, something like that. For example, um, scientifically, expression of lab hormones. Okay, so not just a gesture or not just phenotypically expressions, but could be on that particular specific biochemical indices. So with that, we are almost time, but still we can no, we are hoping in even in our institutions they are really asking for a proposal, a full blown proposal actually, for to be funded. So as early as January, we hope to come up really with a research working titles, because for example, this is starting, starting. We should at least scrap as early as now about the research. I know everybody wanted to do research. Yeah. So that's one thing that we could. And now we can schedule again for another Zoom for the making of introduction. So I do hope that after this Zoom, if your colleague was not able to attend, you can share it to them, and then we will go for the making of introduction. So of course, the tips or guidelines for introductions doesn't coming from me. We'll just try to collate or to gather it from the internet or from the research paper. So and then of course we will try to critique the way you made the introductions, because there are some rules or laws to be followed in making the in making this. There is some step, the guidelines, in which it's just simple, but sometimes we mislook, and then we forget to consider, and we tend not to come up with that. That's one thing that we really wanted to emphasize here. We really need, although there are so many reading materials or there are so many videos, but somehow if there's no people or person that push us to do that. So that's why I've seen some people here is that really they are very interesting. They are very they're
They're
so
they're
you know
interested, yeah.
interested to do research. That's why we come in. So we hope to, of course, to upload this video, so that, because in there's so many there in doing research, we don't expect to to have more audience in doing research. If you try to see, there are only few people into research. Okay. So,
Right.
I have seen individual person per individual or person here in our institutions. Doing research, there is a lot of money. Even we have this so many incentives in doing this.
Yes, at its core, no, to tell you bluntly, research will produce money, but at at its heart, at its core, we do research for the betterment of the lives of the
Yeah.
people, for food security, for the masses, parang ganon. So
Yeah, yeah.
let's entice people to do more research for the development of the Philippines, because there are smart people in the Philippines here. Ano, what's the type of knowledge? The traditional
And the scientific.
knowledge, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Traditional knowledge is as important as academic knowledge. There are many things that you know that not everybody knows. So it's time that you get to share it to the world. And at the end of the day, if your research is published, you'll be the most proud person sa inyong brainchild, because it's your brain that created it. Parang yun lang. I think, Doc Yash, there are no more questions. We have here a message. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much kay Alcamar. Thank you, sir. Wonderful presentation.
That's the time we conclude. Eto, we will only give 1 hour. Actually, I only scheduled 1 hour for our Zoom not to be,
Ay,
you
okay.
know,
Also, by the way, I'd like to plug, no, please answer our evaluation form,
yeah.
and I'll also be sharing the link for Doc Yash's it's a YouTube account where we'll be compiling all the webinars, so that although you are not if you're no longer here and you forget to take down notes, you can always open and see the transcription of the Zoom meeting. It's for everyone, man. As much as we'd like to share knowledge, no, um, we're like sharing the knowledge bluntly to people on their faces, but not everybody wants it. So I hope you guys, you academic people, enjoy the collection of information that we've shared there. So I think that would be all. I last
Okay.
if we can open our cameras, we'd like to see your faces. To acknowledge the fact na hindi lang kami dalawa dito nagsasalita sa isa't isa. Charot. We'd also like to see you guys, and to humanize the tawag dito. Let's humanize the Zoom, 'di ba? Hello everyone, good evening, happy new year. It's so nice to see beautiful faces. Marong bagong gising. Charot. All right, I'll take a screenshot. I'll end the Zoom record muna. Okay.